My name's Jimmy Changa the Fox. Welcome. We're going to do a panel today on how to properly handle fursuiters. And if you don't know what a fursuiter is, then you should probably walk out the door. Fursuiters are people like us, okay? The wonderful E8 here, who doesn't talk in suit. The Zeta. This is Jambalaya over here. Jambalaya doesn't talk in suit either. And then behind the curtain, and we don't want to talk about that, is Lumio and Ryken. They'll be joining us shortly for a little bit of demonstration purposes. So thank you for joining us. Let's start off. I'm going to start off by doing the one thing that you're never going to see fursuiters do in the wider world. I'm going to take my head off. I'm going to do it, man. So the reason being is that I want to be able to talk to you and I want to be able to breathe. So for those who don't know me, my name's Queenie Deerheart. Whoa! Nearly dropped Chimmy Changa. Chimmy is my fun guy, my round town guy. He's a car guy, in case you didn't guess. And we do a lot of public suiting and performance with him. And here are some of the other suitors that are local. This is Jambalaya. You might recognize the similarity between Jambalaya and Chimichanga. This is because Jambalaya is Chimichanga's little cub. And as played by my daughter, you can take your head off now if you want to. You can stay with it on if you want to. Over here, we've got Lumio, who is probably the most complex of all of the fursuiters here we've got today because he's got wings. Show us your wings. And that wonderful, wonderful tail. Do you want to come sit down? Can you sit down? Perfect. Okay, and then over here we've got Zeta, Zeta Bit Floof, who, if you've seen him at Furlandia or any other local cons, he knows how to make things light up. He's very cool at making things light up. Over here we've got E8, who is wonderful little rat, who everyone mistakes for everything but a rat. Well, we'll come to that in a second. And over here, Ryken. Go on, say it. Hi. Yes! So Ryken is what we call a partial. It's just a head, tail, paws. Well, he doesn't have paws, hand paws. I'm a partial too, because I've got feet paws. You're partial. These guys, they're all full suitors. And what today's workshop is going to be about is understanding what you need to do if you are working within the furry fandom or you're at a public event and your job is to keep these guys safe. Your job is to make sure they don't die. Your job is to make sure that when the strange person that you've spotted 3 feet away starts running towards your fursuiter, Drizzle, Zeta, you're going to run towards him, like you're going to glomp him, and you go, hey, be nice to the fox, okay? Yeah, you can say hello. You can maybe you have a little hug, gently, okay? Being able to do stuff like that, okay? Being able to keep your fursuiter safe and make sure that if your fursuiter is getting a bit hot and needs a drink, needs some refreshments, or needs to just chill out and get away from the chaos, that you can put them in a safe space and you can treat them appropriately. I guess you're all pretty familiar now with what a handler is and what their job is, but there are some things that a handler is not. And for that, I'm going to do a little demonstration now. And I'm going to use Lumio, okay, as a demonstrator here. Things that Lumio is not. Okay, so Lumio, I want you to come back here, sweetie. Right back to about here. And we're going to pretend that we are at a con and I'm wandering around with you and I'm going to be your handler, okay? All right. So we're going to go that way now, Lumio. Okay, go on. Let's go. Oh, wow. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Oh, wow. Oh, where's he gone? And he's gone over there and something bad happened to him. He's tripped over a chair. He's lost. You know, that is not what a fursuiter needs, okay? What else does a fursuit handler not need to be? Somebody who is so busy looking at Facebook and Twitter and hashtagging that they don't see that your lovely, cute dragon fursuiter has fallen over and
hurt themselves, okay? You're all smiling about this, but I've been in situations, you've been in situations, right? Where I think we've all been in that situation where we've been with someone who's been handling us and they don't notice that we just walked across the street. Or they don't notice that this random kid has just come up and is doing this and grabbing, grabbing the tail really forcefully. And don't feel for a second, thank you, Lumio. Don't feel for a second that if you're at an event, like a furry event, don't feel for a second that handlers are not needed. Because I went to WFS recently, the last WFS. I was quite happily bowling, we're all with the furs. Some person who was not a fursuiter grabbed hold of Chimmy's tail with both hands and gave it a massive tug, to the point that I then spent the next weekend fixing his tail because it nearly fell off. If you are a handler and you are fursuit handling, your job is to make sure that the person doesn't die, to keep them safe, and to focus 100% on that task. If you want to be here with a camera taking photos, you are not a handler. If you are more interested in your cell phone than you are the person you're with, you are not a handler. If you cannot communicate with other people, you are not a handler. You cannot be a handler if you cannot stand up to someone and go, oh, hey, these guys are here, we're just public mascotting, we're having a fun time, we're collecting for charity, or whatever it is you're doing. If you can't articulate that to another human being, you're not a handler. Handlers need to be able to advocate for you, they need to be able to talk on your behalf, and they need to keep you safe. So what we're now going to do, because we can't let you try all these different heads on, we're going to go through one at a time. We're going to demonstrate our field of view. So Ryken, you want to stand up, honey, and let us know what you can see. So I want you to hold your hands out to your side, like I want you to hold your hands out and show us where you no longer can see, so like the limits of your vision. So can you see this? Can you see this? Can you see this? Just a little bit, so you can see there. So there's a whole area that he can't see. What about the sides? How are we doing? So can you see me right here? Right on the edge, just a little bit? Can you see me now? Can you see me now? Okay. How about right in front of your nose? Tell me when you can start to see my hand. Okay? What does this mean? He can't see that step. He can't see the curb. He can't see people coming from behind going glomp, which is a common problem for us, right? We've all been glomped, right? People see something fluffy and soft and they go, oh, hug the floof, which is great. We like being hugged, but like that. Hey, do you want a hug? Yay, get a hug. And the microphone's going to be all squishy now. Thank you. Who else should we going to get? Let's get E8 up. Tell me your vision. I'm holding off for you guys at the end. Tell me your vision. Oh, wow. So you can't see this box of goodies here. Oh, wow, great. Can you see me here? See me here? Just. Okay. Is that more or less than you thought we could see? About the same, right, okay. Can you see above your head? Could you see something here, for example? No? So he's right at the limit of where he can see. So that bar that's going to hit him in the head, he sees it when it's here. And he doesn't see it when it's going to hit his ears. And you're a resin head as well, aren't you? So both of you come up. Okay, so we're going to Lumio on this side, Zeta here. Back up a bit, sweetie. There you go. All right, so both of you at the same time, put your hands up, show us the field of view that you have. Okay? These guys need handlers super, super much because they can't see anything. They can't see, can you see that? Can you see that? A little bit? He can see through his mouth, yeah. Which is a trick that we all do. She sees through her mouth too. I can't see through my mouth. You can't see through your mouth, can you? You can see through your mouth? Okay, I can't in my new head. But, I mean, you can't see me doing this. And he looks around and he goes, hey, what's going on? He can't see beyond sort of like that. I mean, that is the scary thing. The one thing to bear in mind is that they cannot see diddly squat. They cannot see anything. And if you see a fursuiter wandering around, can you do that head nod side to side thing to make sure that so if you see them doing that, they might be trying to be cute, but they're also trying to get in as much of the vision of the area as they possibly can so that they can make sure they can see what's going on. Thank you, Lumia. You can sit down again. Vision is a big problem, so you need to be aware of what they're able to see. The next thing is talking. There are only 2 suitors here that really talk in suit. Me and him, a little. If we're in public, we don't speak. If we're outside of the fandom, we don't speak so much. And the only reason why Chimmy has become a speaker is because I've been around poor handlers before. So if I'm in a situation where someone comes up to me and they go, hey, what are you doing today? And he doesn't talk.
Hey, so we're freelance mascots, and we're here today to do, whatever. But the rest of the time, I don't want to talk either, because for a start, it's kind of, I don't like spoiling the magic too much with kids. But also, if I'm suiting and I've got my head on and it's hot. I just want to act. I don't always necessarily want to talk. We're going to do a little bit of role playing now. I'm going to put you on the spot. You are going to be handling Zeta. Okay, I want you to pretend that you're a con with Zeta. Come on up. And you can stand on that side. Okay. Or you're not at a con, you're in a public event, right? Okay. And someone comes up to you and goes, so what are you doing? What are you guys doing here today?
Hey, this is Zeta. He's a freelance mascot. He doesn't speak in suit. We're here supporting blah, 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 blah.
Perfect. Excellent. What you don't want to do, we'll switch roles for a second. If you ask me, the floof. I like the floof. I get hugs from the floof. Oh God, you're hot already.
Hey, you look awesome. What are you doing?
This is a furry free zone. I'm sugar.
Okay, that was the bizarrest thing I've ever seen, ever. So, he's fluffy. And I've been in a situation like that, thanks. I've been in a situation like that before, thank you, where I've been with a handler and the handler comes up, somebody comes up to me or the handler and goes, hey, what are you doing? And you go, you mime, that's the first thing we do, right? We mime, we go pull funny faces or whatever, pull funny actions. And they still don't get it and they're still trying to talk to you. And your handler's just standing there going, and you're thinking inside, what's the first thing that goes through your head?
Sometimes there are not enough actions that can speak for them, and it sometimes really frustrates someone who's trying to communicate with you and you're trying to stay silent.
Yeah. And I should point out at this point that we've only talked about advocating and talking for the fursuiters at the moment. We haven't even done like where you should stand, what you should say, This is just like, you need to be as outgoing as the person in the suit. You need to be able to step in and go, hey, don't pull the fox's tail. His tail's going to come off. You'll hurt him. While we're on the subject of talking, we're going to talk about hand signals. Are you all familiar with the fact that fursuiters like to communicate using hand signals and signs? How many of you know any of those signs? So how many have we got? So what about I'm hot? Dirk, go on, you can do it. Yeah. I'm hot, I need a drink. Anyone? Yeah, throw a hand to your mouth, like miming a drink. Now, fursuiters, we have to overact. Because if you just do like a small I want a drink, just like, sorry?
It's like, hi.
You're gay? I mean, what? What? So just do a proper, I need a drink, yeah? Or I'm hot. And very often you'll see fursuiters actually lean forward when they do this. I know I do it. It's like, I'm really hot. I need to take my head off. Head off sign, actually physically taking your head off. Like, I'm going to take my head off. And I prefer putting my head to the side. So what Cornish just did there was kind of that. That's okay, but actually taking your head off and putting it to the side is a really physical object that people need to know. Now, if you're with a fursuiter, and they're all going to have slightly different hand signals. And our little group, we've all kind of homogenized our signals a little bit because we hang out with each other, we know each other's things. Things like what is that and where. Can you show us a sign for what is that? Anybody? So yeah, point. If a fursuiter goes point, it means, what is that? What's that sound? Same thing. They're going to put their hand to their ear and then go, what is that? What's that sound? And then you turn around and go, oh, there's a car just coming down the street. Yeah, you may want to step back from the curb there. Now there's one that I haven't used with this group, but I've seen other fursuiters do, and that's this. Means I'm done. I need to leave or I need to go someplace else. Doesn't necessarily mean I need to take my head off straight away. Doesn't necessarily mean there's something bad happening. It's just like, come on. Or this can mean the same thing. I was like, come on, we need to go to a panel. Like if you're at a con, how difficult is it to move? You've been to some pretty big cons, right? I'm going to get you guys to D-head so you can actually talk now.
I can talk.
Oh, you can talk. You're happy to talk. So what's the biggest con? You're at a big con and you need to get from one place to another in a hurry in fursuit. Can you describe what it's like?
Good luck.
Yeah, especially at Furlandia last year. Because if you didn't see Zedder at Furlandia last year, he had a flashing harness on and he got stopped. I stopped him. You know, he got stopped a lot. And so getting from one side of a convention space to another is really hard. So if a fursuiter is doing this and you're handling them, it might mean, oh, come on, or come on, we need to go. It's pretty obvious what some of these signs mean. But there's one that you need to absolutely understand and know. You guys watching? Good? Does anyone know what this means?
Trouble.
We're in trouble. Or help, yeah. So, or yeah, if you can't do that, hand over your eye, hand over your eye even, and your hand up. Something is seriously wrong. We need to fix it now. And that might mean you can take them someplace. And generally, if a fursuiter does that, Lumia, do you want to come up? I do kind of the secret whisper. So if you do that hand signal, and I come up and I go, hey, Lumio, are you okay? And then he'll turn around and he'll go,
blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 okay? We were at a con recently. Who was with me? You guys. Okay, we were at the Rose City Comic Con, and we did the stupidest thing. You weren't suiting, though. You were Harley Quinning. She was very Harley Quinning. So we were at the Rose City Comic Con, and through our own stupidity, we didn't have a good ratio of handlers. And the ratio of handlers that we had was not enough. We had more fursuiters than we had handlers. It's the other reason why I speak in suit, because I can communicate with these guys who don't speak in suit. And we had a creeper. Do you know what a creeper is?
Someone just keeps.
The thing from Minecraft, yes, but also someone who is hanging around your group, who you may not know, who might be a little creepy, and might come up to you and actually that feels quite good. Keep doing it. Or who might be coming up and behaving inappropriately towards you. This particular guy in question, he had some learning disabilities, and he didn't realize that he was acting inappropriately, but he was freaking out the rest of the group. And it got to the point where there was 10 of us in suit, about 10 of us in suit, and we needed to, as a group, do something together. And so what I did was I went whap, and then I did a yip. Now, Some fursuiters don't talk. Some fursuiters make noises. Most will make noise. Very high pitched. It cuts through the noise. And now I just do it by just inhaling quickly. But by doing that and continuing to do that action and yipping, I got every single one of these guys around me. I got them to de-head, because I then went, once everyone was paying attention to me, I went, de-head now. And everyone de-headed. And at that point, we were able to deal with the situation. If you've got handlers with you, they're going to be able to facilitate that. We weren't in that position because we didn't have enough handlers. But that is probably one of the most important signals to do. But when you're working with your fursuiter, you need to be paying attention to them, not to everybody else. Because if Lumio here starts to feel the effects of heat stroke, and he's just stumbling around aimlessly, or he suddenly stops going, he starts wandering around like this, and you go, oh, look, he's being cute. Actually, no, he's about to die. He needs to, okay, Lumio, come on, let's sit down. Let's sit down right here, okay? Do you need some water? Yeah? Okay, let's take your head off. Can you take it off? Okay, and we get you some water. And we go, hey, have some water. You actually do look pretty high. I don't think I've done anything, I don't think there's any signs that I missed out that are really, really super important.
The basics. The basics. Definitely want, when you're a handler and you're not sure, ask your fursuit, are you okay? And they'll either
Yes.
give you this is a sign for yes, I am okay, or they will tell you
One of the other signs.
one of the other signs.
Yeah.
It also comes down to judgment because we might be out of our knowledge.
Yeah. The other thing that you need to remember as a fursuiter and a fursuit handler is that the fursuit handler says what happens. Okay? So if your fursuiter is pushing back at you, that's the last time you should probably handle for them. You know? However, there are some caveats to that. This guy can suit reasonably long, right? You've done like 7 hours? No, you've done 16 hours in suit. Am I right? 16 hours in suit. The longest that you've ever done is what? Without breaks.
Right. Probably 4 or 5 hours, like that.
Yeah, which is about right for most people. If you've got your head on and you're in suit for 4 or 5 hours, you're going to need a break. Some people need a break after an hour. And that's nothing to do with them. It's just the way they are. You, the first time she went out suiting, she did 2 hours straight without taking her head off. And I was just like, whoa. But it's not about endurance. It's about being able to know when you can take your head off, have a drink, and whatnot. So when you're handling a fursuiter for the first time, the first thing you're going to say is, hey, Riken, how long can you go in suit?
Few hours.
Few hours, okay. Is there anything I need to know? Like, do you have any medical conditions or anything like that? No. If you handle me, one of the things I will say to you is, oh yeah, I've got suspected heart condition. And if I faint, you need to tell the first responders this, and this. And then I normally get the, I think, no, it's totally fine. I don't feel like I'm going to faint. There's no issue with my heart at the moment. I've got medication. I'm controlling it. This is kind of a worst case scenario. And handlers and fursuiters should have that conversation. What are your signs? How long can you go in suit? And is there anything that you're going to get freaked out about, or anything you don't want to do? Which could range from, yeah, I'm really funny about people touching me. There are fursuiters who do not like being touched. And one of the reasons we got so freaked out at that Rose City Comic Con was that creeper was going around kind of on the fringes of our big group and going, oh yeah, they'll give away free hugs. And yeah. Like, dude, no, not appropriate. And had we had enough handlers with us that day, the handlers would have been able to have taken him to one side and go, look, we don't know you. You're not with us. Do you mind stop talking for us? you know, because that's not nice or cool. As it was, Chimmy had a bit of a chat with him in suit. It was like, hey, dude, who are you with? Like, well, okay, so you're freaking out some of the rest of the group, you know, by all means, it's a free place, go hang out, and, you know, you can be in the con, but, you know, don't speak for us. That didn't work, and then we had to escalate. But the other thing you want to be able to do is to be able to know what your suitor can see and be able to spot things for them. So some of that means being in the right place. Come on, Cornish, jambalaya even, come on. So she is so energetic. She is such a pain to spot. I love you, honey, so much. I love you, but all right, come this way. So she runs around a lot. So if you're spotting for her and you're handling for her, you need to be aware that she's going to be all over the place. And you sometimes have to actually physically go, hey, jambalaya, we're going over there, sweetie, okay? And she can go that way. Now, I generally say walk behind your fursuiter, a little bit like that. But if you see, wait, hang on a second, jambalaya, there's a chair there. So we might want to go around this way. So you can stand just off to the side, but it means if someone comes up, we can walk back this way now, sweetie. Yeah, you see okay? So just stay, give her some space, because if someone comes up and says, oh, can I have a photo? No? Only fursuiter that won't let her have a photo. So let's have a pose. Okay, you take a photo of the fursuiter, and then they can carry on their way. If you're standing right here and someone comes up and says, can I have a photo? You're like, yeah. They don't want a photo of a human standing next to a fursuiter, really, do they?
There are exceptions, but most.
There are some exceptions. Now, it's different if someone comes up to you and says, oh, can I have a picture? And so I come up and say, oh, can I have a picture of you too? Okay, come on. Let's have a picture of you too. And then like, can I have a picture as well? Yeah. And then, you know, they'll go and you'll do the smile, and then you'll carry on. But if you've got someone who is handling, the handler doesn't need to be in the picture as well. So standing, you're going to go play with a ball. Okay, she's stolen your ball, Riken. So if you stand sort of an arm's length away, it just gives you a good chance to be able to go, oh, hey, there's a step there. Okay, got it? Or just off to the back, so that the person, you can see everything they can see. You can see that way, you can see that way. Now, if there's two handlers, okay, there's two handlers per fursuit, which is the gold standard. Now, Drazil is the gold standard of handlers. Am I right? We've all had Drazil handle us. He can actually handle more than one fursuiter at once. I don't know how he does it. Having someone within arm's reach to be able to go, hey, you're going to hit that bollard in a minute, or whatever, and have someone a little bit further away who can just clear the path, make sure that there's nothing else going on. But there's something else that Drazil's going to demonstrate here. If you're in front, if you've got two people, one behind and one in front, then they can stop this from happening. Jambalaya, I can use you again. Right, come up. Okay. You can see enough in here, can't you? Yeah. So go over to Dirk, and then you're going to come tearing in to hug attack Riken. And you're going to stop and go, hey. Okay? So you can stand in and go, hey, that's a bit too much, or hey, you're going to knock him over, or yeah, the husky doesn't like it when people do that. It scares him. Okay? It's okay. Demonstrating with two fursuiters. That's a new one.
Generally, it's going to be younger children. They'll just go right for the suit or something.
And the other thing is,
be gentle, like hold on or something.
With kids,
not like take them over.
With kids, the problem is their crotch height.
Yeah.
And having someone tearing into your tummy at that sort of height, it's not good, is it? And of course, do you remember what we were saying about Riken can see there? And suddenly you just feel someone go, gunk, and you're going, where's that from? Where did it come from? So having two handlers, both keeping their eye on the fursuiter, is a real help. So one in front, one behind generally. Okay, you guys can sit down now. Things not to do. We've already talked about that. Don't play with your phone. Don't play with other stuff. Don't play with balls. Oh, okay, you two can play with balls. You're cute. Go on. All right. So there are people within our fandom who have disabilities, whether it be they're in a wheelchair, or they are blind, or they are deaf. At that point, if someone asks you to handle for them, you need to be super confident handling a normal fursuiter, an able-bodied fursuiter, before you start going into extremes. At last year's Furlandia, Lumio did some handling for a gentleman who was registered blind for the fursuit parade. And that requires a whole new level because you've got physical contact with the fursuiter. You're wanting to give that fursuiter a chance to show themselves off, but at the same time, you need to keep them safe. There are deaf fursuiters, same thing, who, in that case, probably you need to know either a little bit of sign language or have some agreed signs so that you can communicate in and out of suit, because the standard fursuit signs may not work, especially if they then need clarification. There are people who have, mobility issues. The list goes on. But now we're going to go for public versus con. Now, that doesn't mean we don't need a handler, but if you're in a con space, you can probably work with someone who's less experienced at handling, because you can help them. Now, there are also, I think most of us will speak in suit in a con environment, because everyone at a furry con knows who we are, what we are, and why we're doing what we're doing. It's not like we're not breaking the magic to a group of like-minded adults, because they all know what's going on underneath, okay? So we can probably find our own way around. We can probably handle ourselves reasonably well. Having a handler is useful if you've got to go from your hotel to the convention center. So if you're doing something big like Anthrocon, like who's been to Anthrocon here before? The spaces between the hotel and the convention center are sometimes quite big. You might have to walk a couple of blocks.
3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4, sometimes more if you...
Portland blocks, Pittsburgh blocks.
Yeah, and that's a long way. And there have been tales of fursuiters who've got lost because their handler took off at the traffic lights, at the stoplights, and crossed over the road, and the fursuiter's just going, what? And you can't see the lights. That's the other thing I should point out. When you're seeing through a fursuit head, the light level is much lower than it is in this room. So you can't see light and shade as easily as you can when you've got the head off. You might not be able to see certain colors. You might not be able to see certain minutiae of things like stoplights or crossing lights, because you're seeing through a mesh. And so you need someone to help you cross the road. So cons, yes, you can do it on your own, but you should have a handler. But if you're doing it in public, it's handling next level. So if you're starting off with handling, find a convention, go handle with a friend at a convention. Someone you know, someone who trusts you. Start small, and then work up to big level stuff. But if you're going out in public and someone saying, hey, can you come down to the park with us so we can fursuit? The first things out of your mouth should be, how many of you, who's coming, what are we going to be doing? I'm going to be controversial here and say, if you are in a situation where there are multiple furries and multiple fursuiters and multiple people willing to handle, that's great. If you're in a situation where you're the only handler for a bunch of 3 fursuiters who really want to go fursuiting together, the first thing you're going to say is, guys, I'm sorry, one of you needs to handle. So who's it going to be? You'll do it? Okay. At that point, that fursuiter takes off their gear and they become a handler. And we've got a little agreement based on what happened at Rose City. Next time we all go out public suiting together, which will be the 23rd, right? For the, there's a classic retro game convention. We are all going to turn up with our suits. But in the parking lot before we go out, we're going to draw lots and go, thank you, E8. No, we're not going to go, thank you, E8. E8's off to do bowling with a pool party. Say hi to everyone. Okay. So you are going to have to say to those fursuiters, what? This is why you need multiple handlers. Come here. This is why you need multiple handlers, because you can't do it all on your own. So if someone says to you, hey, can you handle for me? For goodness sake, give it here. Now you see what I took. Oh, bloody hell. I love my daughter so much. So, that's the other thing to bear in mind. Know how old your fursuiters are. Because there's, to be able to say to someone, no, don't just touch that fursuiter there, or, that's also really important to stop people from doing that. But where was I? In public, you need to have at least 2 handlers per every fursuiter. You can cope with 1-to-1 if you know the fursuiter really well. We've done smaller ratios, haven't we? So I think the worst we've ever done was we've had 3 handlers and 6 fursuiters.
Yeah. So each handler had to look after 2 persons.
And there is a bit of a mob mentality there, in so much as we all know each other, and some of us talk in suit, and so therefore, if we know where we are and we're all able to see and we're fairly confident that nothing bad's going to happen, fine. But don't do as we do as we say in that environment, okay? I think that's pretty much it. Oh, there are some other things. One other thing that's really important that I haven't handled yet. Bags. If you're a fursuit handler and you want to go fursuit handling, guess what you don't need? Your stuff. Guess what you do need? Their stuff, okay? You are going to be carrying around a bag. In your bag, you're going to have these straws so they can have a drink. You're also going to have water. I've got through a couple of gallons of water when doing a large amount. Yeah, you can do that, but not everybody can. So some people can do that. Zeta, can you do that? I've met fursuiters. What's her name? There's one of the fursuiters who's at Rose City Comic Con with us, and she has a little tube, literally, in her muzzle. It doesn't open. It's just a little tube. She can't get a bottle in there, so she needs a straw. The other thing that's useful to carry around, things like these, food bars. Okay? These guys get hungry, they get hot, they get thirsty, they get sweaty, and it's a pain in the butt to try and get them food. So keep food with you, and then you can find somewhere quiet, especially if you're in public, where they can take their head off and have a drink or have a bite to eat. The other thing that kind of more advanced stuff, you might end up carrying something like this around. Not this around, wrong one. This is isopropyl alcohol. She hates it when I do this. So essentially what someone's going to want to do is if they're suiting for some place and then they want to take their head off for a couple of hours and it's a bit hot and sweaty. God, I've forgotten my English. You just spray that in there and helps get rid of the smell and the bugs and stuff. And you might also, depending on your fursuiter, someone who gets messy might want you to carry some stuff so that they can treat stains or whatever quickly. But the final thing is a slicker brush. Where is the slicker brush? Over here. So all that stuff in there, in that box, is the stuff that I took off to put this on. So you're going to have to be responsible for that, or we're going to leave it in the car. Can I brush you? So who knows what this is? Yeah? You've got a dog or cat, and you go like that with your dog or cat, right? To get the kinks out of their fur. You do not do this with a fursuiter, because this will pull fur out. So you use it the opposite way around, and very often as a handler, you're going to have to make them look pretty and go, hang on, we'll just sort you out. And if they're cute like Riken, they're going to do that. Yeah, he's a cute husky. Turn around. You do your rough. That's it. And you're going to be fixing stuff, and you're going to be, sometimes, as was the case. Can I tell your embarrassing story from Mount Hood? Is that okay? So stand up. Yeah. Mount Hood, we went up Mount Hood in fursuit, and something happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Wardrobe malfunction.
Wardrobe malfunction, and it was in an embarrassing place.
Very strategically placed.
Very strategically placed. So Drazil, bless him, was faffing around in Lumio's crotch area with safety
Someone
pins.
who doesn't know what's going on, it looks a little
Weird.
risque. Yes.
But it was just to fix your suit, so that your bodysuit, so that it could be used. And the other reason why I've got Lumio up the final thing that we should say as a handler is you got to know how your fursuiter puts their fursuit on. So do you guys know how tails attach, for example? So there's a little belt loop. Most tails, if it's a partial, they have a little belt loop, and you put a belt through it. Now, Lumio's different because if he turns around, his tail is part of his suit. Okay? But his wings are also part of his suit, and his wings attach differently. Now I'm going to actually, can I take your wing off?
Go ahead.
So turn around towards me a little. So you've got to be able to do things like know how their wings come off or on. And in Lumio's case, it's just a little nut that goes through, little bolt. And you've got to be able to help him put this on, because you can't put your suit on. You can't put your suit on by yourself, can you?
I can, but it's not fun.
No, exactly. As you know, I have Chimmy, and I wear a binder underneath. This is the binder, okay? It squishes my boobies to give me a more blokey feel. If I'm not wearing Under Armour, which I am today, it shrinks your skin. Basically, it's supposed to be a tight fit. And car parking lot, right, Bunny? Been out suiting for 3 hours. I got hot and sweaty, and I had to turn over to Bunny and say, "So I need some help getting out of this." And Bunny had to literally just pull it off me because it's so tight. It's something that I can't do without hurting myself. Now, you need to be able to be okay with that level of intimacy with your fursuiter.
It's a special relationship.
It's a special relationship, yes. But I say that because sometimes I've been with a handler before who's been a bit squeamish. And they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I want to touch you there." And you have to get past that. I need to put the costume on. You've got Under Armour on under this. Mm-hmm. So you need to be able to know that you're going to see him in his Under Armour, right? And sometimes you're going to see more than that.
Yeah. And a good thing to note, if a person is asking you to help them with their suit, chances are they already know that there's going to be some intimacy involved because you have to get close and personal.
Yeah. All right. And being able to devote and be willing to not have a fun time. That was the other thing, right? Fursuit handling is not always fun. You're not going to see all of the cool things that you might see if you're just wandering around next to a group of friends. You're with these guys, your eyes are on them.
You're functioning as their ears and eyes, and sometimes brain.
In your case. So one of the things that we'll do, I've just done it now. If I'm around a kid that I know is going to pull my tail, I'll do that. You can't do that. But you can back into a corner a little bit, can't you? Or bop down, or just do something else to get out of the way. Like this and going, "Hey, do you want to say hello to the dragon?" Okay, so leave his tail alone. "Hey, what's up?" "Yeah, stop poking me with your tail." Was that a distraction? You two are terrible. All right, okay. So any other questions? How do you stop people from taking pictures? You don't. People are going to take pictures. Now, if you want someone to start taking pictures of your group and they're posing for photographs, we've been in a situation before. Let's get all 4 of you up, okay? Where someone's come along and they want a photo, and then if they pose for the photo, and then someone else is like, "Oh, can I have a photo?" just as you're about to go, and the fursuiters will just generally go, and they'll pose. If you get a sign from one of them that they need to go, like whatever, you go, "Okay, so I'm sorry, we've got to go now, but maybe we can catch some photos later. I'm really sorry." Now, I would not be handling 4 people. So there would be 4 handlers, and you're all going to be standing off in a line, and so you can actually turn around and say, "Hey, we need to go." And then as a group, you can be their security guys and go, "Come on, let's go."
Politely excuse yourself.
Yeah. I've never had to be obnoxious when handling.
People are normally very understanding. And if they do ask for a photo, that means they kind of know some sort of level of etiquette.
Hey, 1 second. That's another thing you'll do a lot as a handler, adjusting your fursuiter.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if you saw, but part of his jaw was kind of coming out, and was like, I just want to tuck that back in there, and you know, make sure that they're staying in one place. That's just a little jambalaya. She wants to have fun. She's got bored. Got any other questions or anything? Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're gonna pack up. We're gonna head up to the pub for some grub. And depending on what the weather's doing outside, chucking it down. We're not going to be fursuiting in public, but you're going to get wet, Zeta. Stay floofy.
Bad idea. Really bad.
Maybe we'll take some heads up there or something, and we can do that. But let's see how it goes. Guys, do you have anything else to add? I think the most important thing out of today is that of those of you here today, just attending the class does not make you a fursuit handler.
It just raises awareness.
It raises awareness, and if you are doing if you're with a bunch of fursuiters and you don't feel confident handling, you shouldn't be handling. If you are with a bunch of fursuiters, doesn't make you a handler. And if you are with a bunch of fursuiters and you do not want to handle, you need to come up to the person or the fursuiter and go, just so that you know, I don't feel comfortable handling you. And they'll go, okay, they'll either grab someone else in, or they'll say, shit, take their head off, and off they go, okay?
I'll handle.
There is one final thing that I think, sorry, I keep saying one final thing, but I keep forgetting stuff. Thanks, Jambalaya. I love you. You're awesome. There are things, if you're in a group of people, the handler's job is also to know who is supposed to be with the group. You want to pretend that some crazy person in the worst head you've ever seen just suddenly attaches themselves to your group. The first thing you need to do is speak to the other handlers and go, who is this person? Do you want me to brush you? Who is this person? What are they doing? Why are they here? And are they with us? What are you doing? Oh, playing with Floof.
Comedy relief.
Comedy relief, that bad, huh? If there's an event and we need handlers, we're happy to have handlers. But if you can't talk to other people, you know, you're going to go all shy. You're not going to be able to act decisively. You're not going to keep that person safe. We're just going to turn around and say, sorry, no. And if you let down a fursuiter, if you handle badly, believe me, word gets around. I'm not going to name and shame now, but we've come out of events.
On another note, if you feel like you're not confident yet, but you still want to become a handler or want to help out, you can always help out another handler. That way we can have two handlers look after someone.
And that's the best way, really, of learning how to do it. You can hang around with fursuiters in a group and not be handling, but actually learn how to handle by watching other people do it. Watching this guy do it.
You learn a lot just by watching and observing.
Bunny, watching Bunny. You learn a lot.